everyone, it is Old Roommates. Today on the show, we will be revisiting To Wong Foo, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar. The, I don't know what year, movie starring Patrick Swayze, Wesley Snipes, Oscar Channing, and John Leguizamo. So tune in and, grab your suitcase.
Nice.
Yes, and join us.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pop culture through a middle-aged lens. This is Brian.
And this is Christina. Welcome.
And today we are talking about To Wong Foo, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar. Christina, thank you for saying the whole title.
Yes, it's, I've been practicing. It's a long one. I will not be writing the entire one out, but
this isn't another one that we're doing to celebrate Pride Month.
Yes, happy Pride.
And this movie, I didn't write down the year either. I think it's 90. Is it 96, 95, 96?
No, let's take a quick look.
We'll take a quick look. I guess I'll start with when I saw this movie.
1995.
95, which blows my mind. This was only 5 years after I graduated high school.
That's crazy.
I mean, so I saw this movie with Naomi, our friend, and I remember really, really liking it, but I remember not quite loving it because I felt like I wanted more, a little more emotion. I think I wanted something back then. I think I wanted something more of like. But you know why? Here's why. 95. There are not a lot of like gay movies or movies with gay characters.
True. Yeah, we've talked about this before.
We did talk about this with Trick, for example, and so anytime there's a movie with any sort of gay character, especially as the lead character, like you want a masterpiece or you want this epic thing because it's so rare. And I think when I went, I was like, this is entertaining, but it's very light. And this is a light movie. And I just remember feeling okay about it. And that's how I felt then. And I did think, like, wow, Patrick Swayze really commits here. And but I remember being like, that was the ending? Okay. And I liked it. How about you?
Same. You might have liked it even a little bit more than I did.
Oh, wow.
I felt the same way. I was watching it. I don't remember. I didn't watch it. I didn't see it in the movies. It was after it came out. I watched it on VHS probably. And I remember liking it, but I actually, I felt the same way. Like after it ended, I felt almost let down.
Yeah.
Like I wanted more, not more story. Not like, I didn't want it to be longer, but I'm like, what? Okay. Like that was really light.
Yeah.
That's how I felt.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember back then my favorite part of the whole movie was the whole Oscar Channing storyline.
I loved the Oscar Channing Patrick Swayze friendship.
In that friendship, yes.
That to me was the most meaningful part of the film then. So I agree with you. Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, and I wasn't a big fan of the John Leguizamo character either.
So I was, and Naomi, our friend, she would recite so many of the lines of Chi-Chi, and it would just make me laugh every single time. Yeah, it was a lot of good lines from Chi-Chi. Should we just dive right in?
Let's dive right in. Shallow dives only here, folks.
I really liked it. I liked it so much better than then. Yeah. It is not perfect, and we'll get into that. But there's an energy to this movie and a heart that doesn't feel fake to me. I feel like they had a vibe that they wanted to carry through this whole film, and I think it succeeds to the detriment of some of the subplots. I thought about this a bit because I was like, I almost watched it all over again after I revisited it. Like I was like, it was still kind of early in the evening, and I was like, I going to watch this all over again? Or...
Can I ask you, sure. When was the last time you saw it? Have you seen it since the first time you saw it?
Maybe once.
Okay.
But I would... 95 to... I mean, maybe even 20... I mean, still 20 years.
So it hasn't been
not been
within
recent.
like
no.
20 years.
No, I had not seen this movie in a very long time.
I was just curious.
And, but I was like... it sustained a vibe that I felt the whole way through. Where I was like, I found myself smiling a lot, laughing a lot, and really appreciating the acting of Wesley Snipes.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't register then how committed he was. And I actually would argue he gives the best performance in the movie. Just my take.
I could see
I watched
a
lot of RuPaul's Drag Race over the years.
Yes.
And I said to Carl, and Carl watched it with me in it, and I was like, if Noxzema Jackson, that's her name, right?
Yeah.
If Wesley Snipes went on RuPaul's Drag Race as Noxzema, he would have won his season. It is such a committed, funny, ad-libby, shticky but not shticky performance that is so balanced and happy. Like, he's having a blast. And
yes.
I think you feel that. And I definitely didn't feel it then. I don't know why. I think my mind and heart were somewhere else. But I think it's a great, really underrated performance.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. I thought he was probably the best as well. I liked Patrick Swayze, too. I mean, they're just such different characters,
For
though.
sure, yeah.
And I will say, like, I appreciated it a lot more this time around. I feel like I liked it more because after doing so many of these revisits, I think it's important to kind of let go of a lot and just sort of let the movie happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if I had watched this 2 years ago, I would have had a different opinion on it. But because I've sort of grown through this podcast in my movie watching abilities, I was able to sort of let go a lot of that, some of the problems or some of the subplots, some of the serious undertones.
I know, yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
It was interesting to me. All right, watching this second time. Let me try to verbalize what's in my head right now, which is kind of difficult. When I went to turn it on, the main thought, my main memory of this was the Stockard Channing, really, storyline of being an abused wife. So going into this, I had forgotten that it was so fantastical. The feeling of it. Mm-hmm. The, just the fun vibe, the comedy of it. And so by watching this now, and it took me a little bit to get into it, because all of a sudden I was like, oh, right, okay. Because it started, to me, there was so much more leading up to the town that I remembered. Like, I felt like the major part of the story was the town. Like, I felt like that was...
You think it got there quicker?
Yeah, I thought it got there quicker, exactly. And so, just leading up to it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot about all this stuff, and I forgot about this, and then the altercation with the police officer and all that, I'm like, oh yeah. But I appreciated it more now, watching it. And I liked it because I could let go of a little bit more of the serious stuff. Mm-hmm. So, does that make sense at all?
It does. I think, too, what I was saying, and I agree, there's a vibe. So, I should probably say this, we talked about this, we were recently interviewed by a podcast. And
that's right. We're like big time now. We're like...
We had this conversation because I think we revisit differently. Like, I will only write down stuff that surprises me in a happy way or disappoints me or points at something in a different way. I'm truly not looking for things. Mm-hmm. I actually feel like to me, I want to love everything because it's our time.
Right.
And so I think I am able to sort of disconnect and just try and just look at this optimistically or just clearly. This movie, like I was saying before, has that vibe, to your point, where you can just coast along, much like the car they're driving. And it's like, you just kind of going with it. But I think because of that, the Stockard Channing, the domestic... So basically, Stockard Channing's character is essentially a battered woman.
Yes.
Her husband beats her.
Yes.
And they don't show it, but they show her crying. You hear it in a scene. It's unpleasant for sure. But I think I have in my notes, like, did we need this?
Well, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, we don't need it. It wasn't. She could have been in a bad marriage.
Yeah.
Without the domestic violence.
It could have been verbal abuse.
It could have been
lack of
verbal.
self-esteem. Just like
all of that. I think it would have been better, and I think I would have remembered the movie differently.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it really altered my memory of the whole movie. That scene. And even
the scene, the tomato sauce scene, or what?
Both that
the storyline.
The whole
Okay,
storyline.
all right.
But it's I had a problem with that, and I also had a problem with.
I wonder if you're going to say what I have down. Good. Sorry.
The cop, the bad cop, and when they pull over, and the whole racist.
Oh, he says the N-word.
He says the N-word
and the Mexican.
Very derogatory. He's clearly
an
asshole, and he's going to rape a woman.
Yeah.
He's ready to rape her. So I feel like that didn't need to be so heavy either.
I completely agree. When he ever said the N-word, I'm like, I don't remember that.
Yeah, I didn't either. How could I not remember that? I was like, holy crap, like, what happened right there?
What the other part, and we'll go back to the cop scene, but the other part, while we're bucketing these awful things, what was going on in the woods when Chi-Chi is walking in the woods and all these men
and they're going to
gang rape her. This is PG-13.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we don't need this.
No,
folks.
it was too disturbing.
It's
like
too
those
gross.
things.
Carl's like, were they just going to rape her? I'm like, yeah. And I didn't connect it that way when I saw it before, but as an older person now, I was like, holy shit, that's exactly what that scene, that's their intention.
Exactly what they were going to do, and I found it really difficult to find them so redeeming at the end.
Yeah.
Because I know that they were gonna basically gang rape
this
woman, which clearly is not the first time they were gonna do something like
right?
that. Like, they knew what they would do, and they were all hidden. They all had their places.
I had that same thought. I'm like, that's gross because you could tell the way they were walking. I'm like, oh, this is not the first time. These are like,
yes,
yeah.
And it wasn't. And the other thing too is they had no idea that this was a gay man in drag.
Right.
It wasn't a hate crime.
Yeah.
This was purely just a rape of a girl.
And I think the first time I watched it, way back when in '95, I think I thought, oh, they know it's a guy and they're going to beat him up. But now it's so weird because it made more sense because she's the most attractive. Like,
oh my God.
Not that that's the reason, but I'm saying is like, she looks like a guy. I mean, in a wig.
Yes. She's a boy in a dress. And I think Wesley Snipes' character.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I think in '95, my thought was, oh, they clearly know it's a guy, and they're going to beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, would have been.
And now I was like, oh
sense.
Shit, no, this is a gang rape situation, and I was like, this is a lot for PG-13. Between what you're saying, the racist cop, the hand up the dress business, the husband beating the wife and throwing the tomato sauce against the wall, They
all could have been reworked.
This is enough. Like, it's just ruining my vibe.
Yes. And I think that's what happened last time with me, was watching it, and that's why I remembered those scenes more clearly.
Yes, and I think that sort of tarnished some of it for me back then. And I think, but this time around, because I knew I wouldn't be seeing Stalker Channing, like, I adore her, being beaten up. Mm-hmm. You don't see it. Because I know that scene in the woods was not going to happen because the kid shows up at the last minute. And because we knew that the cop isn't dead on the side of the road and that the women, the drag queens escape unscathed. So I'm like, and he gets his comeuppance at the end. So it was like, because you know the ending of those subplots, it's an easier digestive process.
Yeah, and I have to say, like, Matt watched half of it with me, the first half, and when Chris Penn, the cop, gets knocked out or whatever, they're like, he's dead or whatever. Yeah. Like, he turns to me, he's like, what? He's dead? And honestly, I couldn't remember, like, what had happened, and I'm like, I forgot.
Same. I forgot, too, if he had died.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? I forgot that.
There's so much that I forgot about this movie. But all in all, I mean, it's a fun, like, if you get rid of, like, if you know going in about these other subplots, you can relax and really enjoy the campiness and the fun. And what really turned it for me, honestly, Well, actually, what was surprising to me at the beginning was watching, Patrick Swayze almost flash he almost got a full frontal view.
Oh, right.
Very close.
Yeah.
He looks really good in it, by the way.
Yes.
But he's doing his makeup, and I remember watching him like this just this past time, and I remembered him as being more draggy, but he didn't really seem.
No, he wasn't like
very
super done
up. Yeah. So that was a little surprising to me at the beginning, but what was my point going forward on that? I forget what I was going to say now. Anyway, it was fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. The part that really changed it for me was when they were setting up their room with the scarves.
They're throwing things up on the wall.
Throwing things, they just sticks to the wall. Yeah. And I'm like, see, now that's a vibe I can get into. And that's kind of like what I was really...
Maybe someone will do an edit where they edit all the dark stuff, and it's just a fun, breezy movie. What's wrong with having just a fun, breezy drag queen movie?
Right, seriously. And the other thing too is, I did not, when I remembered the Stalker Channing storyline, I thought you did see her get beat up. Like, I was kind of dreading that whole scene. I'm like, oh, I want to see that scene.
Yeah,
it's ruining my buzz.
Yeah,
yeah. And then I was kind of relieved to see, oh, that's right, he doesn't actually. But then even after Vida, Patrick Swayze's character, threw him out, I'm like, he comes back though. Does he beat her up afterwards? Like, why do I have a memory of him beating her up? Like, visually seeing him beat up? I don't know.
It's such a weird thing because it's like, I want to say it's tacked on, but we spend way too much time on it, right?
Yeah.
Like, the movie spends too much time on it. It's like, it's not meaty in the sense of like, it doesn't delve too deep. It's like this opportunity for Patrick Swayze to say, stand up for yourself and be strong.
And be loved for who she is,
yes,
too.
Right, yeah. And the thing is, like, you don't need to beat up Stalker Channing for that message.
Right.
Like,
You
she could have just had, like we said before, she could have just had low self-esteem. She could have just been, like, verbally abused.
Just in a shitty marriage.
Exactly.
You can be in a shitty marriage and want to get out.
I really hated it was when there's one scene after the tomato sauce, I think, where the husband says, "Well, you want me to hit you again?" Like, as a joke, and he kind of jumps at her, and she jumps back. I'm like, is that what happens? Like,
It's like, you know what it is? It's the bad guys are not redeemable in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, the cop, the teenage kids and the husband, they come back at the end, like, and you're supposed to laugh at them, and you don't.
No. I agree with you. Yeah.
And it's like, I still hate you.
Yeah.
Like, I still think you're an asshole. And what's to say after Vida and Noxzema and Chi-Chi leave that these people aren't going to be doing the same crap that they did? If they've been there for 2 days. Are we really supposed to expect them all to change after being there for 2 days? That was the other thing. It was like, oh, your car's not going to be ready. I was waiting for them to say, it's not going to be ready for 3 weeks or something. It was like it's not going to be ready till Monday. What? It's Saturday. I'm like, what? You were there for
That's
2
fast.
days?
In that little town, that's super fast.
Really?
Yeah.
Seriously?
One thing about the end, too, when Stalker Channing is staring at her husband in the truck, I completely agree with you. I'm like, well, what's he going to do, come back when the drag queens leave? Like, I didn't get this finality. I got that she cares more about herself now. Yeah. But I didn't get, like, oh, this is totally over. It's like, no, not really. He lives there. Yes. His business is there. They share a child. They have a kid together. He's not just going to, like, vanish from her life. No. That's not how it works.
I think it would have worked better. Here I am rewriting the movie.
Do it.
It would have worked a lot better if Vida had empowered Stalker Channing's character and she threw him out.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah, because she doesn't. I mean? He, like, runs,
she doesn't stand up for him.
That's absolutely right.
For herself, I mean. She doesn't do that. So it would have been, I think, a better... It would have made more sense moving forward that she wasn't going to let him back in. Yeah.
I forgot that he says to Stalker, that Vida says, come with us.
I forgot that too.
I forgot about that, and that was really sweet. It reminded me of E.T.
Really I know, totally.
Stay. Come.
Totally.
Really, let's get into some funny stuff, because Naomi Campbell has a 1-second cameo, which she says, to Noxzema, I wish I was as pretty as you.
Oh, I know, isn't that fun? I know,
and then Noxzema says, good luck.
She was good. She was.
There's a lot of there were quite some cameos in this, like
a lot of
Robin
cameos.
Williams.
So Coco Peru was in there again.
Yeah,
so he just revisited Trick a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
And Coco Peru. But you know what was really funny about that? And I noticed, of course, I recognized her right away. She looked so much like Tori Spelling in this movie.
Oh, funny.
And I was like, oh my gosh, am I just seeing it because she was just in Trick with her? But no, if you look at her, she looks just like her.
Well, it's funny. If you think about Trick, they both have that same exact hairdo and the same hair color. And I didn't even connect it.
It's similar eyes. They have the big eyes.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. I'm like, oh my gosh, why did I not? And I never noticed it in Trick. I never said, she looks like Tori Spelling in Trick.
Yeah.
So weird.
It is interesting.
So weird. But lots of
funny
famous
lines. My parents got married for the rice. That's a great line.
Oh. I like the lines that Vida says. Do you ever do you ever not cry in this room? every time she walks into the kitchen, she's crying.
Another good one. If you want them to know steaks for dinner, you gotta let them hear it sizzle.
Oh, yes,
when they wanted her to dress more provocatively. And then Wesley Snipes has a lot of little throwaway lines like, approval neither desired nor required.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
So good. And that was a really interesting, casting at that point in time. Do you remember how weird that was for everybody?
It just kind of came, I think it just came out of the blue.
I feel like it came out of the blue, too. And it's Patrick Swayze and Wesley Snipes, two very macho manly men who, this is 95. When was Dirty Dancing?
89.
Okay, so it was after Dirty Dancing, so it was like Tough Johnny. It was after Roadhouse.
Oh shit, 87. What am I saying? Is it? No, keep talking.
It was after, Roadhouse and all of these Young Blood, all these really tough roles for Patrick Swayze. And here he is being a drag queen, portraying a drag queen. It was great. I thought it was great. And same with Wesley Snipes. I don't think he's ever had a romantic comedy. Right? He's always the tough guy.
Real quick, Dirty Dancing 87, Roadhouse 89, Ghost 90, Point Break 91.
So Ghost was before this. Okay, so
that
was
in To Wong Foo 95. So, but yeah.
And Youngblood was earlier too, right? Well, Youngblood was
86.
80, yeah.
Isn't that wild that Dirty Dancing was the year after Youngblood? It feels
That's crazy. But he didn't really have a huge role in Youngblood. I mean, he had a supporting role.
Red Dawn, is that? Red Dawn was 84.
Right.
Made a movie called Steel Dawn. But I know what you're saying. He's done so many iconic, really beloved movies.
Yes.
He
had a good agent.
So good. He was very good. But I'll tell you this, that... So I looked into who was up for this. Apparently Vida was the hot... the role in town.
Really?
James Spader.
Oh my gosh.
Robert Downey Jr.
I bet he would have been good.
Robert Downey Jr. Matt Dillon. And then, this is bizarre, William Dafoe.
Oh God.
Yeah.
So I think Robert Downey Jr. would have done a good job. I think James Spader as older. In 95, I don't think he was old enough to play Vida.
Well, Pretty in Pink was 85.
Right, so 10 years later,
he was old enough.
But he always looked younger than what he is.
Wait, James Spader?
Okay, so let me backtrack a little bit. All right. Yes, he looked like a 35-year-old man in high school. Okay, I know where you're going with that. But as far as his face, he has a baby face. So as an adult, as a 45-year-old or a 50-year-old or a 55-year-old, I still thought he looked young for those ages.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a high school guy.
He does. If you think about his voice, though, James Spader isn't too dissimilar from Kim Cattrall. Truly.
True.
And I think his face would have benefited Vida.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. He's such a good actor, too.
He is.
Totally
but Patrick Swayze just really committed to this, and with the outfits and the hats. But to get the role, Patrick Swayze really wanted the role. He went to the director or the producer and said, hang out with me for 2 hours. I am going to convince everyone that sees us I'm a woman. And he dressed up, heels and the whole thing. And I think being a dancer helped the heels.
Definitely, yeah.
And he did. He passed as a woman for like one night on the town with the director. I don't remember who it was, but the director or the producer. But that helped get him that part. He really wanted it.
Good. What about Wesley? Have you seen anything on that?
Allegedly, Wesley and John were like bing bang. Apparently, it was like a very quick decision.
Wow.
And they really wanted to be part of this, and it was not. I don't think it was a huge box office hit. I mean, it was.
I don't think so. It was like a sleeper.
Yeah.
Some other people who were in this movie, Beatrice was played by Blythe Danner.
Yeah.
She was great.
Yeah.
I really loved like her kind of opening scene, or maybe her second scene, when she's like, she's chewing gum and she's like, oh, that one over there, like she hasn't had sex with her husband in like 7 years, and this one over there is like, and she's like just the gossip of the town, like filling them all in and everybody. And Melinda Dillon, an old favorite of Brian's.
Oh, I know. I struggle with her sometimes.
So they,
but I liked her in this.
She was good in this, actually. She was the mom from Harry and the Hendersons and Christmas Story
and Close Encounters.
So she's
80s and 90s, really.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about the women's basketball league visiting the.
Oh my God! How funny was that? That was so funny.
And like 2 minutes. Like it's a very short sequence.
2 minutes, but totally. But of course, Noxzema has like a whole women's basketball outfit.
Mm-hmm.
That was hilarious, and just like some of that, like such a fun movie that you just have to let go of a lot of things. Like they have every single outfit imaginable. Like you never see them in a second outfit.
Yeah.
And they have like one suitcase each.
Right.
So like things like that.
To your point, it was a quick trip. Like they weren't there very long, but they had a costume change every scene.
I mean, I would love to count how many outfits they each had. And it's not just a dress. It's like the hairpiece and gloves and shoes and bags and I mean.
Now that I think about it, I think Chi-Chi didn't have that many costume changes, right?
Well, in the car, she went from shorts to jeans.
Oh, I also know Noxzema, she did a lot of this thing where she would say, okay, Miss Thing, or check yourself before you wreck yourself. Mm-hmm. And then at one point something happens and she I don't know if it's an ad-lib, it's gotta be, but she's like, ooh, that's voodoo. Do you remember this? I can't remember what's going on in the scene, but it's just in the background you hear Noxzema say like, that's voodoo. And it's like if you it's like blinking you miss it,
say that,
but it's so funny. And then Chi-Chi at one point just yells out, date with destiny. That is the funniest all of them. These drag queens, and they're just constantly shouting out these little sidebars, which feels very drag queen real for
definitely.
Me. Yeah, it's very funny.
I bought it.
Yeah.
Hook, line, and sinker. That these are all, well, maybe not John's character. I had trouble with Chi-Chi.
With the makeup?
I had trouble with the makeup. I had trouble with his personality or her personality. I get that she's supposed to be young and obnoxious and whatever, but it was like, ugh, get me away from this person. Like, I did not like her scenes. I just didn't like her at all. I didn't think she was a likable character. And then she like turns on a dime. Like all of a sudden she's just like, forget you guys, I'm out of here. And I felt like she was doing a Rosie Perez impersonation the whole time.
Completely.
But sometimes it was stronger than others.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really didn't enjoy that character at all. And the whole her sideline, her side storyline with Bobby Ray. They've literally known each other for less than 24 hours, and they're saying "I love yous," and it just didn't make any sense to me. Again, with the timeline, with the "I lovely," apparently this is like a sticking point with me in these movies. You don't have to say "I love you." We can believe that you are interested in each other without you saying "I love you." That ruins the whole thing for me.
That is another knock. I will say, I agree with you. He writes Chi-Chi on the wall of the barn or whatever.
That?
Like when? When did he do that? And then she's like, "Oh, so romantical." And I'm like, this is so rushed.
Yes, it's way too rushed. Mm-hmm. Way too rushed. And I mean, they knew each other from just the lift into town.
Yeah.
They didn't really have another interaction, right? Maybe the next day when they're meeting in the town, but I don't even think it was...
Well, yes, he was basically like, I can't stop thinking about you, Chi-Chi. I never met anyone like you before.
Yeah.
And then so the point of this was to connect all the dots to make the storyline go forward.
Right. In that whole... yeah, I mean, and then I had a big problem with just him being, you know, a man and not telling this person that she allegedly loves. Like, that's probably something you want to mention early on in a relationship. I mean...
Carl and I were talking about that similar thing where you would think that if drag means a lot of work. It is not easy.
Yes.
You're putting on the makeup and all the clothes and all that. And I'm talking about the 6 times I've done drag in my life for Halloween. But it's like, it's a commitment and it's like uncomfortable sometimes. And yet, like, it's interesting. They chose to be in drag that entire road trip, driving in these tight, fitted clothes, full makeup, wigs pulling at your scalp.
Yeah.
Like, it's an interesting choice. I appreciated it because it made things more lighthearted and fun, like a consistent vibe, like we talked about before. I just don't know if that's what the average drag queen would do. I just don't know if that's...
I don't know any drag queens personally, but one of the things that they were struggling with was they needed to pull over and go into a hotel, and they were like, they're not going to accept us, we can't go in. And then they're talking about sleeping in the car. Like, no, I'm not going to sleep in a car, and all this kind of stuff. And then, obviously, they end up in that hotel with the women's basketball league. Yeah. But Matt turned to me, and he's like, well, can't they just put, like, men's clothing on to get a room? And I'm like, they could.
Unless there was
maybe
a line.
Is it a pride thing? Is it like I'm not going to change myself for anyone thing?
Maybe. But you know what I wondered? Even if there was a line that was like... I packed so much I couldn't even fit my men's clothes.
Right.
Like, if it was something like
that would have been... Yes, definitely. Yes, I think that would have been better.
And I really like the line with Stalker Channing when she's like, Adam's apple. She's like, Adam's apple. And I was like, thank God, because...
Finally!
They're really rough. I mean, these are like kind of... rough-looking women.
Well, especially Patrick Swayze.
Yeah.
I mean, you can almost see, like, a Noxzema. Like, I could see her... Because she's so overly done.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Because she's so overly done.
So
it's like,
top.
this is just who she is. Yeah. She's just a big,
loud, larger than life,
crazy woman. And then Chi-Chi's a whole other different story. Yeah. But with Vida, it's like, you could really kind of tell... I mean,
because her bone structure is very. I mean, she's handsome. I mean, really, she's like a handsome
their
woman.
Body types are very
broad-shouldered,
and you know, large. I love their scenes together. Mm-hmm. I wish there was more of that. Actually,
I'm telling you, cut out all the forced drama, social commentary stuff, and then just have a fun fucking movie. Like, I don't care if it would have been super light without it. Give us some fun.
It was,
why
you
not?
wanted to just enjoy the lightness. Like, as soon as you're enjoying the lightness, all of a sudden there's like a gang rape happening. Like, what the fuck?
Exactly.
Like, how can I enjoy it now?
The other thing is, like, if you think about it without those scenes, it could just be a matter of, like, real acceptance. Accepting yourself.
Yep.
And maybe not really needing the acceptance of other people, which is sort of the message too. And just isn't it enough that they're going into a small town where people have probably never seen a drag queen before, let alone a gay person before,
right?
Or I said that backwards, but you know what I mean. So it's like, you know, maybe that could have been enough of a storyline. I just kept
I think it could. I think it definitely could have been enough of a storyline.
But all that to say, I really did love it. I really did. I enjoyed it much more than I did before. Yeah,
I really did too. I also really liked the relationship between Noxzema and Clara, the older lady.
Oh my gosh.
That was a sweet relationship.
Yeah.
Very much.
My God. Did you hear what she said at the very end? When she says goodbye to Clara.
Yeah.
And she goes, Noxzema says, oh, I hope she leaves me. What did she say? I hope she leaves me those records when she does.
Yeah, I would have. Yeah, and I would have liked to have known that they were going to continue to keep in touch and stuff like that. But I mean, I think that's kind of a given-ish.
Yeah,
maybe it would have been nice to fast forward to, like, I don't know, even like with the even at the very end, I guess, are we not taking a break this time around?
Oh, I don't even know.
I don't think
do you
we
need
need
to?
it.
I don't think we're okay, yeah.
Even at the end, when they have the what was the contest? Miss
Drag Queen, whatever, yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, of the year.
Of the year. The Drag Queen of the year, whatever, yeah. It would have been great for them to go through that whole thing and then flash in the audience and see a group of them in the audience cheering them on.
Yeah, yeah.
Just to, like, let us know, they are still staying in touch and they are still in a good spot, and they moved on,
Yeah.
It would have been a 10-second, not even, it would have been like a 3-second just push to the audience.
And also, like, the little cameo of Julie Newmar, and it just kind of freeze frames on her face, and she doesn't even say a single word. It was a little odd. I found that odd.
Do you know that that was kind of not really planned originally to have her be in the movie?
Oh.
That she had heard about the movie and she went to the set to check it out. And then when she was there, they had asked her if she would make a cameo.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool.
So random that Chi-Chi won.
So wow, what a weird coincidence that she won. I was happy to see the transformation from what she was.
Yes. Well, because her face makeup didn't match the rest of her body, and that was really funny. And she even says that. And she's if we get out of this, I'm going to promise to find a makeup that matches my skin tone. And it was just funny. But I just enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
It was good. What else do I have for notes
That's all my notes.
Let's see.
There's a drag queen.
I loved the opening song. The I Am Body Beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a good song.
Yeah.
Love it, love it, love it, love it.
I loved, so it's, I'm going to get the line wrong, I think, but Blythe Danner says, should go to our strawberry social. And then, and just that scene on the team, he's like, strawberries. What do you think of strawberries? Like, their strawberries are red. She's like, good. They're like pulling teeth out of these people. She's like,
oh my god,
strawberries. They're like, there's wild strawberries. She's like, red and wild. Oh my god, it was.
Oh my gosh, that was great,
fun.
and you could totally see that kind of conversation happening. I wrote down when Vida is like, that's it, I am stripping you of your princess points. Boop, 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 boop. Like, and she does like these like hand motions. And like, and she's like, oh, you stripped me from my princess points. Like, it's just that scene was really cute. And
Wait, I wrote down the moth. Oh, a moth lands on. Is it Patrick Swayze? And he screams, and it's a real moth. It had to have been completely ad-libbed.
Oh my gosh, I didn't notice.
I found nothing online. But there's a moth that lands, or like it goes in Patrick Swayze's face, and she screams as Vida.
Oh my gosh.
I think that was just completely ad-libbed.
That's
it was
so
very
funny. I wanna watch
Yeah,
it again now.
It was super quick, but I wrote it down. What else? That's really everything.
I don't really have anything else either.
I will say one time, just some New York, a New York moment for me. I was with Larissa, who you know.
Yes.
We went to this club, and we're standing on the edge of the dance floor, and suddenly someone grabs my shoulder and goes, woohoo! And like squeezes my shoulder, and I look, and it was Lady Bunny, who's in this movie. And I was like, oh, and I was like, and I didn't connect it, and Larissa's like, Ryan, that was an iconic moment. She's like, that's Lady Bunny. That's Lady Bunny.
She was like in that scene for a while.
Yeah, I didn't connect it, and she's still like she's all over Drag Race and doing stuff, and
No, I was talking about Larissa. I said she was in that scene for a while.
She was into the scene for a while. Yeah. Not so much anymore, but that was such a very funny Lady Bunny moment.
That's funny. Lots of real drag queens in there. Obviously, RuPaul.
Yeah. That was great too.
Coco. There's,
although, really quick, when I first saw that movie, I didn't get the joke, and when she's like, because it's not a very funny joke, but so there's the guy, and she's like, I don't know who he is, but if there's a blizzard tonight, I'm tying him to my tires, or tying him to my car, the leather and the chains.
Well, I don't think she delivered it that well either. It was like a little too slow. It was like it looked like she might have been reading the line. Yeah, it wasn't a good delivery of that line.
Oh my
but
God.
the audience seemed to like it.
Oh, God. Do we have questions?
Well, we have at least one question.
Should we take a little tiny break?
We can take a little tiny break and then come back with a question.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, that sounds good. All right, we'll be right back. Hey there, it's Brian and Christina. We just wanted to take this break to thank you for listening to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pulp culture through a middle-aged lens. Please subscribe to Old Roommates on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And give us a rating or review while you're there.
And if you have any questions, comments, or observations, shoot us an email at oldroommatespod@gmail.com. And follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Old Roommates. Thanks for listening, and now, back to the show.
And we're back talking about our final thoughts and questions for To Wong Foo. Thanks for everything, Julie Newmar. Christina, I know I said it pretty flat out. I really liked it a lot more than I did before.
I liked it a lot more than before, too.
too.
I remembered, I didn't remember a lot of it from before.
Yeah.
I just remember that Stalker Janning, storyline. So I really enjoyed it a lot more, especially as it went on.
Mm-hmm.
When you start really getting into it.
So let's do questions.
Okay, so do you want to start?
Sure.
Okay.
I did an FMK.
Okay.
Fuck, Marry, Kill. Here we go. The cop.
Oh, God.
Chris Penn. The husband. And is it Johnny Ray or Billy Ray?
Bobby Ray.
Bobby Ray. But imagine Bobby Ray is of legal age. Which I think he is. He was. Yeah. He was old. That's the other thing. He was older than that girl.
Yeah, he seemed a lot older.
Yeah.
She seemed... But it might have been just because she was so, meek.
And pure.
Bobby Lee.
Bobby Lee?
Bobby
name. Ray, Bobby Lee.
Yeah. The boy was Bobby Ray. Because they were in the car and Chi-Chi called him Bobby Lee. And he's like, Bobby Lee's a girl.
Oh, that's right.
Remember?
Oh, my God.
She's like, oh, I'm so sorry. All right, so cop, husband, Bobby Ray. Oh, God. This is bad. This is really bad.
What was the husband's name?
It was like Virgil or something?
That's right.
Right?
It's so good. Virgil.
I don't... You know what? It's like either I know it or I don't. Most of the time, I don't.
All right, so let me pretend what I think you're going to say. Okay.
Okay, so, all right. You ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to kill the husband, Virgil.
Mm-hmm.
I will F the cop.
Yay, I got it!
And marry Bobby Ray. What else would it be?
No, I know. You're not going to marry the husband.
You're not going to have sex with the husband.
No. You have to kill him. You have to.
You have to kill him. And you're not going to, marry a racist.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are just bad choices, I guess.
Fine.
Well, okay. We could have done the actual drag queens.
You could have. But no, but that'll ruin my question.
Oh, okay. All right, let's hear it.
Anyway. So my question to you is, and I think I already know the answer based on our conversation, but that's okay. We have a couple of easy questions this week.
Sure.
So who do you think made the most convincing drag queen?
Okay. So just to be clear... Okay, good. To be clear, not woman, drag queen.
Oh, yes, drag queen, for
queen.
sure, yes.
Yeah,
so Wesley Snipes as Noxzema.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Swayze as Vida,
mm-hmm.
or John Leguizamo as Chi-Chi.
Yeah, I kind of ruined it because I said it in the beginning.
You did already say it in the beginning. That's okay. It was an easy question.
It'll be our Facebook question.
Yeah, let's make it. That's a good idea.
So I'm curious what you would say too, but I mean, for me, it's absolutely Noxzema.
It's absolutely Noxzema for me as well. But I think it has to do with the makeup. Like when I think drag queen, I think of the makeup and I think of...
Big. Larger than life.
Yeah. Exactly, larger than life. So she had the different wigs, and she had the eyes, like those huge fake eyelashes. Yeah. Everything about her was like really extra big.
And there's something else. Like, if you imagine a drag queen is performing, which of those three would you want to see perform?
Right.
Patrick Swayze
She
almost
just
seems like would be a
sauntered.
little... Patrick Swayze's character, Vida, it almost seems a little dull.
Yeah.
And then Chi-Chi just seems like she'd be in her own world. At least not
Chi-Chi
Zima.
was a boy in a dress. We all discussed.
And like Zima, it would just be like all everywhere.
She's
always
yeah.
on, always on. And that's what
Yeah.
I want in a show, so...
Yeah, it seemed like Vida might have won because she had the most experience. Like in the beginning when they won, they tied.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, why would she win?
Well, I think
she was clearly well loved.
So in Drag Race, and RuPaul's Drag Race, this happens quite a bit where it's the idea of illusion. So it's like if you're a very convincing, say, woman, or you possess this sort of like heightened femininity, that counts a lot as much as it does to be sort of like a raunchy, crazy drag queen. So there's always that parallel, and I think that's what you have with Vida and Noxzema, is you have that sort of the art of illusion, and you have the entertainer. So it made sense. Yeah.
Did you feel like you watched this a little differently, being a fan of RuPaul's Drag Race? Do you feel like...
I think I identified and connected it more to like what good drag is.
Yeah.
And that's why Wesley Snipes, I feel it was almost ahead of its time.
Yeah.
I really thought it was so good. Yeah.
Well, I thought it was funny because I don't know much about drag at all. But I do know, actually, a very little bit about it from Jillian, Naomi's child.
Yeah.
Who really likes the makeup. And I learned from her that they do, like, they cover the eyebrows.
Yes.
And then they draw the eyebrows above the eyebrow.
Yeah.
And that was one of the first things I noticed when Patrick Swayze is doing his makeup.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, she didn't do it that way. She just penciled in hers. So, anyway. That's my extent of knowledge in the drag queen world.
Have you ever done drag to be a guy? Have you ever done a male Halloween costume?
Well, I've done like Dracula and things like that. I was Axl Rose. I was I feel like I've been I feel like I have been a guy several times. I can't remember now. Not in recent years, but Axl Rose was a few years ago.
Good times.
Good times.
And that is it for us and for this episode of Old Roommates. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe to Old Roommates on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And give us a rating or review while you're there, please. If you have an idea for the show, a suggestion, or a comment, email us at oldroommatespod@gmail.com.
And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Old Roommates. This is Christina.
And this is Brian.
Thanks again for listening. Till next time.